So Terry is a 57-year-old man in Minnesota, and this man has just served his sentences. Like, he has been doing crimes after crime, and now this man has come so far in life. He is 57 years old, and he's like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I will not be committing any crime. So one day his friend came over and told Terry about the shoes, and he was like, Ruby Garland wore those shoes and they're worth millions. And Terry at this point was like, no, I'm 57 years old. I've done way too many crimes. I'm done. Like, I do not want to get involved anymore. So then that night his friend leaves and he ends up thinking about it. Like, he cannot stop thinking about it. One day goes by, 2 days goes by, this man is still thinking about them fortune shoes. Like, these shoes were worth £1 million at that time. So what Terry does, he ends up going to his friend and he's like, you know what, like, yes, I'm ready. Like, this is going to be the last crime ever, and I will not be committing any crimes ever again. So about Terry, he's never watched Wizard of Oz, so he doesn't know who Ruby Garland is or what these shoes are about. Like, he knows nothing about it. So he's like, rubies, shiny, they must be worth a fortune. So like any genius, he ends up driving to that museum, and once he reaches the museum, he literally smashes the window with a sledgehammer. So that Judy Garland Museum, mind you, it had the security of a lemon stand. He ends up storming in, he ends up breaking the glass with a sledgehammer, and he ends up storming in, and he ends up stealing them Ruby Garland shoes with his bare hand. After stealing them, obviously the alarm does go off. 2 days goes by. Terry was like, I might as well let things calm down and then I'm gonna go sell it. So 3 days goes by and Terry's out and he's looking for a buyer. Now obviously he does meet up a buyer, and it was a very shady buyer. He was like, look, I found those shoes and they've got rubies on it. So the person, he ends up inspecting the shoes and he sees that these shoes has no rubies or whatsoever, but they do have plastic sequins that is glued together. And he was like, literally, they're nothing. They're literally plastic sequins. It's nothing. So Terry was like, what the hell? Did I just steal a bunch of random shoes for no reason? I'm not going to keep that. So what Terry does, he ends up storming to his friend's house and he's like, you know what? You can keep them stupid ass shoes. It's not worth anything. I'm not keeping it. Why did you even make me steal them? These are worth nothing. So he ends up returning the shoes like it was some candy that he stole, but he doesn't like the flavor. So yeah, he does end up returning the shoe. Meanwhile, the shoes actually, at this point, it's 2004. These shoes are actually worth $1 million. So now 12 years goes by and now the year is 2017. And now we're in Florida at an apartment complex. So a retired Secret Service agent was hanging out by the pool and there was a lawyer as well. And so the agent and the lawyer, they were chatting, and while they were chatting, they were like, you know, there's a reward going on for finding them Judy Garland shoes. They were just chatting by the pool and agent randomly mentions that he used to work security for Judy Garland's adult daughter. And this leads them to chatting about the biggest art crime in Minnesota history, the theft of ruby slippers. And the lawyer's like, oh yeah, about those shoes? Yeah, I have some information. I know who took them shoes and I know exactly where it is. And then the lawyer's like, hey, you know what? The insurance company that originally insured the shoes are actually offering a reward. And the agent is like, a reward? Okay, why don't we just tell them where the shoes are? So they both come up with a plan on how they can extort the insurance company. And so they put the plan into motion and the agent calls the insurance company and he's like, hey, I got a lead about the shoes that got stolen in 2005. I know exactly where it is. And the insurance company was like, what? You know where it is? Like, can you bring it to us? He was like, yeah, I can, but like, how much money are you offering? And they were like, well, we're offering $200,000. Mind you, these shoes are worth now $3.5 million and they know that. So they were like, 200,000 for some information when we can literally get money from the shoes. Nah, that's not happening. So he lets the insurance company know that he is willing to give them some information in exchange for some more money. And so the insurance company, they end up calling the police, and what the police does, they actually end up involving the FBI. And the FBI looks at every single detail, and the FBI was like, yep, there's definitely an extortion going on. And so they investigate. They set up a whole operation and they actually send someone undercover. Anyway, so now it is 2018. They end up finding some sort of information about the shoes. Honestly, I'm not sure how they found the information because there's not much mentioned on the internet. However, they do end up finding the shoes that was being stashed, and they finally recover them. And it was like a huge deal. I remember watching the news in 2018 and I was like, wow, that is great.
Romance in these types of schemes, sometimes sophistication, but at the end of the day, it's a theft.
Piece of Hollywood's most treasured piece of our nation's film history.
With that being said, they hold a whole ass press conference to announce the world that the shoes were finally found. Anyways, now that Dorothy's shoes have been found, the FBI is still looking for the guy who originally stole the item from the museum. Terry, he ends up living his best life because he is now an old man and no one knows that it was him. So it was an easy crime for him to get away with it. Like, this guy was never gonna get caught. Like, he thought he was good. And now 4 years goes by and now Terry is 74 years old. 74 years old, and this man has already found true love. And he is dating an immigrant woman. And Terry's really upset because the immigrant woman's visa is ending and he's like, no, I really want my girlfriend to live with me. Suddenly he remembers, he's like, oh, the FBI are still looking for the thief. If I actually go to the FBI and turn myself in, then maybe the FBI will actually let him go for being honest, for being truthful, and maybe they will also let his girlfriend live in America. He is an old man now who is in a wheelchair and his health condition is pretty bad. And he's thinking that if he tells the FBI that he was the one, then maybe they will get some sort of closure, close the case, and let his immigrant girlfriend live with him. So what Terry does, he ends up calling the FBI, and what the FBI does, they end up calling him in. And he ends up telling the FBI that he is the one that stole Ruby's slippers back in 2005, which he later gave away because he thought they were worthless. They eventually charged Terry with the theft of the slippers, and he does get a plea deal, but he doesn't get prison time because I guess he's just really old and he's also going through a very bad time. You know, his health is just, is not doing too well. But he does have to pay £23,000 for restitution. Anyways, with that being said, oh, and remember how he gave away the slippers in 2005 because he thought that it was worthless? Well, it turns out that they're not, because in 2024, they were auctioned off for $28 million. With that being said, this has been a cracked case, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.